Welcome back to another episode of Crystal Hook Fishing. It is 5:45 a.m. and Memorial Day, and I'm pulled over the side of the highway with the boat because I accidentally left one of the coolers open and it flew open on the highway, so I had to go stuff it in the truck. But we have the boat. We are gonna run out to some new grounds. We're gonna explore some new areas, try to get some hogfish, and some other stuff. But I will see you guys out on the water. We got all our stuff. Damn it! All right, Eric's getting in, Matt's getting in. I don't have any of my stuff on. I just set up my pole spear. Evan's got his pole spear. We got a Goliath rod too, if we want to catch Goliaths. If these birds would be quiet for 1 second. All right, bye. Welcome back underwater, everybody. We're going to jump right in on the first dive. An absolutely epic day. We end up taking the Skiff to the deepest it's ever been in the Gulf, and I shoot a grouper species that is very hard to find in the Gulf. And it's my first one of that species in the Gulf. So I only brought my pole spear today. First dive of the day in about 40 feet. See this nice permit, and I just let fly. Thought I stoned it, but I ended up just wounding it pretty bad, so it freaks out and goes straight for the wreck. But we pull it out right here. It's really important to have a belt reel so that you can take shots on those big fish and not have to worry about, you know, your pole spear not being able to fight all the way up or losing your pole spear, etc. Just having the belt reel clipped on. Matt and Evan doing a great job of keeping it away from the Goliaths and keeping it away from the wreck. Telling Matt I'm good to recover my fish now and just bringing the permit into me.
I wish I was wearing a GoPro. I got a whole third person of that. Yeah.
They say a fish on the first dive or the first cast is always unlucky, but I think today proves them wrong. Had these birds just like come up and swarm us. Pretty cool. Alright, so after that we headed out to a deeper spot. All that bait ends up covering the wreck after these first few dives. These first few dives, I go down to this wreck, and there's these big Goliaths, and there's like tons of snapper and some hogfish and stuff down there. And I was planning on hunting the wreck the whole time. We also were looking for amberjack. I wanted to get an amberjack on pole spear. This was like the first day of the season. But after a few dives, this cloud of bait comes in and covers the wreck to the point where you literally couldn't see the wreck. It was like several feet thick of just thousands and thousands of pieces of bait. But on this first dive, I'm just looking for snapper. I find this nice little hole, and I let fly on a big one that just gives me a good little shot. Just kind of look up in there. And they move in and out. The key is to just stay down, and the one will come out and give you a shot, just like that. The longer you stay, the more comfortable with you they get, and then you can take a shot on one like that. And then you just rush it up to the surface. I really like the pole spear when there's Goliaths around, because you can just wrench that fish away. You have much more control of the fish than with a spear gun when you have wrapped shooting line and all that stuff. But that's if you have you can't dive the pole spear on super deep spots because it takes away your breath hold and all that stuff. And you don't have the same range. But for stuff like snapper and grouper, absolutely the way to go. Alright, so going back down. Got my anti-Goliath pole spear. This pole spear's seen a lot. There's another video that I have on the channel, the 500 subscriber special, where a Goliath absolutely nukes this pole spear over a cobia. And I still have all the scratches and stuff from when that ordeal happened. But get down to the bottom of the wreck. I'm a little bit off the hole where the snapper are. You can see there's a Goliath there. There's some other. This wreck had like 5 or 6 Goliaths hanging out on it. But I get down, I find that hole that the snapper were in again, and I just kind of sit there. I had to swim up to it more, so my breath hold isn't as good, and I kind of take a rush shot here and miss, unfortunately. It's a really cool wreck. It comes way up off the bottom, too. I really enjoyed diving it. Alright, this next dive, you'll see that giant thing of bait that covers it. This is probably like 4 or 5 dives later, maybe. And Just watch as I go down. It's like impossible to go into the wreck because of how much bait there is that sits on it. Down there, all that's bait. That's just covering the wreck. Literally impossible to see through it, to move through it, etc. Shark right there. Even when they give way for you as you descend through it, you can't see the wreck. It was absolutely absurd how much bait there was on this thing. But some AJs come on through. That front one was legal, so I was like, I'm going to take a shot. Didn't get close enough. I just tagged him. He freaks out, takes off. There's the bottom. You can see all that bait. It's just a ridiculous amount of bait. So I now have a slip tip in his stomach, but it didn't penetrate. Tears off. Alright, this is Evan's perspective. He's got his Rob Allen. He's got, like, you know, an actual gun. Going back down again, the bait is ridiculous. At this point, it's come all the way up. Like you can see, he's only like 20 feet down at this point. He starts to get down some more. Huge clouds of bait. He dove out to the side of the cloud of bait, and then he sees another AJ. Gives it a little follow. He's got another one with him, and boom, stoned him. It's exactly what you want when you got those Goliaths around. And that shark that I had seen just a second ago. You really don't want to have to be fighting a big fish like that when there's Goliaths and sharks everywhere. It's a big headache. But yeah, he got a really nice AJ too. Doesn't fit in the cooler or the bag. We had to.
Nice one, Matt. I'm holding the fish. He got a little nervous, that's all. Yeah. Alright, let's put him in the deck so that we don't lose it.
We had to open up a live well and shove him in with the tail cut off in order to make him fit. Alright, now we're out deep. We're out in like 78 feet about, and we're diving another different wreck. And Evan and I are doing one up, one down, and Eric's kind of shooting the top, looking to see if there's any permit or anything above the wreck. Matt is hanging out in the boat, taking a little breather, and we were diving this wreck. Weren't seeing much initially. Like, we weren't super impressed. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go shoot a mangrove snapper. So I go down. I'm using Matt's gun because in like 76, in this deep, I don't want to be using the pole spear because it saps my breath hold. So I'm like sitting down there, see this group of mangoes. I'm trying to pick from them, and I don't really see anything that I super like again. Then I look off to the side, and I see that grouper. And I was like, oh my god, that's not a gag. Take a shot. Start pulling him up. On the way up, I'm thinking, like, that wasn't a gag. It looked like a black. It looked like a black grouper. But, I don't know. I don't want to say anything. So I'm on the way up. I'm, like, freaking out. I'm pretty sure I have a black. I look back down, and I'm like, oh my god, that's a black grouper. That's a black grouper in the Gulf. That's my first one ever. He's just...
Oh my god! I got a black grouper! Whoa!
He's just been destroyed by my shot. He's not struggling at all.
I thought it was a red.
24 inches right on the nose, so barely legal, but he still counts as a black. First Gulf black ever.
That's not a gag. Wait, is that black? Are you sure that's not a yellowmouth? That's a black. No, it's got yellow. That may be a different species. That's a black.
Alright, so shot this guy on the wreck. 24 inches, so he is legal if he's a black. He might be a yellowmouth, though. Not 100% sure. Check the regs. It's also legal if it's a yellowmouth, but still, I think it's a black.
It looks like a yellowmouth, dude.
Whatever it is, it's legal, but that's pretty cool.
Alright, so after seeing that, we were like, you know what, let's dive this wreck a little bit longer. So we moved to a different part of the wreck that came off the bottom a little bit more. It was like the main part of the wreck, and this part was way fishier. You'll see what I mean when I get down to the bottom. There's one dive before this one where I saw probably like a 30-pound permit, like a big one, and it was cruising through, and I just didn't have the confidence with Matt's gun to take a shot on it from the distance that I was at and know it was gonna penetrate. With my Marauder, it would have been fine. Um, on my way down, see the top of the wreck. There's all kinds of stuff. See this nice hogfish hanging out over here, and I was like, all right. I take this top-down shot. I don't really like it, and I miss right there. So I head back up, fishless. So then we head back over to some shallower stuff back at 40 feet. I'm using the pole spear again to finish off the day because we ran out so far. We wanted to make sure we had time on the way in. But we hit this one spot on the way back just to see what was around. We actually saw a good bit of red grouper, just like none of them were like legal around here. Hanging out. See some nice mangoes. That one gives me a shot and I just blast him. That's my last fish of the day. I was playing him soft because I had the slip tip in his gut. I didn't want him to tear out. Brain bleed got him as always. Get this guy in the boat.
All right, we're just wrapping up. We have a really good mix today. We got mangoes, we got hogfish, we got grouper, we got the permit. There was that huge permit on that wreck that I wasn't gonna be able to get him. I had Matt's gun and it's really underpowered because Matt can't load like the properly powered thing. I knew I wasn't gonna get through it. We also have the AJ, but yeah, we had a good day. It's flat calm out here. It's beautiful. It's only 3 o'clock, but we're gonna head in. It was good to have y'all out.